Hi, Bobcats. Let's end this chapter by looking at several example questions. These are typical type things that you might see on a quiz or a test. With all of these questions, feel free to pause right at the beginning so that you can answer them on your own. This first question asks, which of the following is an element? And we are given NO, CO, and Ca, or all of the above. So this question is trying to get at the formalisms for writing the formula of an element. And the rules that we developed said that the first letter will be capital and the second letter will be lowercase. There's only one of these that matches that pattern, and that is capital C, little a, and that is the element calcium. Answer number one, capital N, capital O, that indicates it indicates two elements, nitrogen and oxygen. Capital C, capital O indicates carbon and oxygen. On this question, feel free to pause. The question says, which of the following is a compound? To indicate a compound, we should see two or more elements. Capital N, little o, that's indicating just one element. Capital M, little d, that's indicating just one element. Let's see, that first one, by the way, was nobelium. Number two is mendelevium. Capital C, little o, that's indicating just the element cobalt, right? Because if you have a capital followed by a lowercase, that's just a single element. So the best answer here is none of the above. All of these are elements. None of them is a compound. Once again, feel free to pause the video. The question says, the term atom comes from the Greek word atomos, which means, well, very often students like to pick answer A, which says that atoms are very small. Well, it is true that atoms are very small, but that's not what atomos meant. Cannot be seen frequently gets picked because atoms are so small that you can't see them. But really what atomos meant was that you could not break down the substance anymore. It was indivisible or uncuttable. So answer C is actually the best choice for this one. And our last question, circling back to the beginning of the chapter, the tarnish on silverware is primarily silver sulfide, which always forms with a 2-to-1 ratio of silver to sulfur atoms. This is an example of what principle? Well, the law of conservation of mass says that the total mass of the reactants has to equal the total mass of the products. We don't create any mass, we don't destroy any mass. The law of definite proportions tells us that in a compound, the ratio of the atoms or of the elements by mass is always the same. That's what definite means. It's fixed, it's unchanging. And so that's what we're seeing here, that there's this 2-to-1 ratio of silver to sulfur atoms. If we're saying that there's a fixed ratio of atoms, that implies that there's a fixed ratio of the masses of the elements. So the best answer here on this one is the law of definite proportions.